All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley in the morning show, make some noise. Yeah. Man, we are broadcasting live, man. Greenville, South Carolina. We are so excited to be here, man. We got all the young men here, people all over the country, man. Y'all give it all the young men in here, all high school students, make some noise. Middle school, college.
They up in here chilling.
Y'all look young. I thought they was high school students. Y'all look like, baby, y'all college students. What? God. They ain't got no mustache. They ain't got no COVID babies. No, I'm just kidding. Man, we are so excited, man. My next guest is an author, businessman, investor, and television personality. Best known as the founder of FUBU, and he is our favorite investor on the hit TV series Shark Tank.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Y'all, welcome to the Rickey Smiley in the morning show. Daymond John.
The man.
What up?
What's up?
Man, we happy to have you this morning, man. You are an entrepreneur, man, in every sense of the word. And you always, what is that? You always, dang, I can't even get the question. I had a brain fart. Shut up, Gary. Shut up, Gary.
He's super excited because we got you here, big dog.
Yeah, you're going to help us make some money. No, we are so happy to have you, man. Let everybody know some of the young people that might not be familiar with you and the FUBU brand and how you got started and what you're doing now.
You know, it's really a funny story. So, you know, it wasn't like today. You know, back in when hip hop was really getting its legs. People weren't. There you go. I got it. There you go. People weren't really supporting, the hip hop culture. And I got to tell you, it's a full circle moment because I couldn't get anybody wear my stuff, right? But we had a guy named Ralph McDaniels, amazing guy. He started to throw something called the Teddy Riley Festival in Virginia. This is 1992 and 1994. I remember going down and Ralph let me on stage, and then this woman came out and said, "Baptized in the funk," and stood right in front of me. And I remember that moment going, I need to be in this industry one way or another, and I can't rap, sing, or dance, so I'm going to dress everybody. It was that moment that I sort of stand right there.
Wow.
And do that. And it took me about 8 years after that to still get known. So I started FUBU in 89 and failed 3 times until 92, saw that and said, I got to keep going. And then, FUBU ended up doing about $400 million a year every year for a couple of years, and then we acquired the brands Coogee and E-Tonic, and then I got picked up for a show called Shark Tank. I've been on that 15 years, and it's been an honor and a blessing, man.
Well, we've been a big supporter because we wore your stuff to the skating rink every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Did we not?
That's all we wore.
Come on, that's it.
We didn't care about nothing else but FUBU.
Right.
That's it. Well, not only have you built your own global lifestyle brand, FUBU, but you also help others become entrepreneurs. Now, why is it important for business leaders to help others, particularly young people, achieve success?
Well, being an entrepreneurial thinking, so every young man here, and especially every young man and woman, it's entrepreneurial thinking, right? It's coming into the system, and whether you are the entrepreneur yourself or you're thinking like an entrepreneur. And it's important because entrepreneurship is problem solving, right? Yeah, I mean, everyone, if you're an entrepreneur, of course, Rickey, everybody here is an entrepreneur. You had the door slammed 1,000,000 times in your face, and you say, you know what? I'm going to figure out and do it another way. And it's just entrepreneurial thinking. It came up in a system where there wasn't entrepreneurial thinking because, at that time, we were in the industrial age and we were building ships and things of that nature, and we were being taught how to be great employees. Now these young men and women here, they're going to create their own businesses, and even if they're in a business, there's various ways to become the CEO of that business because business is no longer like it was, like big corporations. Everybody here can be a business person.
Now, Daymond, you just came out with a children's book this month, Little Daymond, Learn to Earn, now about financial literacy. So now why is it important for you, there you go, why is it important for you that young people, especially young people of color, learn financial literacy?
Yes.
Well, because we're not taught that in the earlier ages of school, right? No. So what happens is, most of us grow up in debt. So if we're not taught financial literacy, and then we get to the stage where these young men and women are much smarter than I am, because my only accomplishment in school was I liked it so much I did the 7th grade twice, right?
Bro, join the club.
So they have they're smarter than me because I was the dude because of the tours. I was like, I'm too smart to go to school. You know what I'm saying? I'm too hip to go to school, right? But why is financial literacy? Because because we're not taught that, we're now in a country of debt. Nobody's taught it. So even when I made that money, I almost went bankrupt twice when I was poor, and once when I had $10 million in the bank. Now, if you look at lotto winners and athletes, 65% of them are bankrupt 3 years after winning the lotto or leaving the league. It's because we're not taught it. And there's no big scam going on. Honestly, again, we were taught something, we were taught to be different type of people when we were growing up, and now we're in the information age. So every one of these young men and women, they have a sufficient amount probably of student loans they have to pay off and various other things. And if they don't know how to use that money, well, then what happens when they bring in the money? They're going to still be in debt. And people say, well, you got to teach them now when they get to school in finance. No. When do you teach your kid how to be an athlete? At 5 and 6 and 7. When you teach them music, 5, 6, and 7. So you start to get them to absorb the information a different way. Us adults, we're already jaded.
That's right.
You know?
Man,
by the way, the book hit. By the way, it hit #1 for the first 2 days. It was #1 on Amazon. That means it was one of the top books in the world. That means that right now, Ricky, I can go to Golden Corral. I can open it up right now, and I get all buffets for free. I can cross the
what?
I can cross the street whenever I want. Green, yellow, whatever.
Right.
It's the #1 book in the world. I mean, that means America has voted and said we need it. There is no other book like this known in the schools at all. Zero.
Right. And you had a really important point. They make all this other stuff a requirement in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and not financial literacy.
Our
That's
teachers,
so
I have 200 teachers that advised me on this book. They said we don't have financial intelligence, and I'm not taking. I think the most underappreciated commodities in this country: teachers and veterans. And our teachers know how to teach you everything about science, history, math, but they don't know what good debt is and bad debt is. And and the only reason I created this book is because I have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old girl. She's 6 years old now. I was saying to myself, how many Princess and Pony books am I going to read her? How many times I'm going to tell her there's going to be a prince that's going to come and wait for you? You're going to have a glass slipper or going to slay a dragon. You better not live with no 7 dwarfs. Now, how many times am I going to tell her that? Or am I going to teach her how to create and sell her own glass slipper so the prince come into the glass slipper building and go, man, who owned this? I need to meet her. Right? Same with our little boys.
Right.
Am I going to keep telling them, my little godson, that he got to shoot webs out of the wrist or fly? He loves the Avengers. So I said, just like in the book, forget the Avengers coming together to fight some superpower called Thanos. Come together with your friends and start a little business. You see, anything that you sell or anything you buy, you can sell. Anything you do for free, you can get paid for. Right? And that's exactly what it is. When we used to play in the streets and somebody, you take their football home and the game's over, right? Well, in Little Daymond Learns to Earn, it shows how everybody come play in the streets and they all get their own football at the end of the day, and they all get to play and do what they love. So that's really what it is, for the parents and kids to connect and start to understand this. And unlike these big books where I have 5 New York top-selling books, but every time you read one, it's okay. A kid wants you to read it every other day to them. And then what happens is, unlike when, listen, when your kid's lying to you, you go, remember the boy who cried wolf? Well, when a kid wants something, you go, what did little Daymond's crew do to get that?
Right. Hey, Daymond, real fast, you mentioned bad debt and good debt. Right. Now, we always taught what bad debt is.
100%.
Stay away from this, don't do this, don't get in debt. Yeah. Can you give one small example of what good debt is?
Good debt is when you buy a house, right? But good debt is buying an Airbnb. So here's what it is. Good debt is when somebody else pays your debt, right? You buy a house, right? It costs $1,000 a mortgage. You rent it out for $1,500. Somebody is paying your debt. Bad debt is something you keep paying. They say something about interest. If you know about interest, you'll earn it. If you don't know, you will pay it, right? So good debt and bad debt is all. People get intimidated about investing. Investing not really hard. If you have automatic deduction of $100 go from your check every single month from 18 to 65, that will equate to $1.5 million, right? Wow. If you would have we all know, here's what I do. I invest in public companies that if they go away, it's going to affect my life. Mm-hmm. If Apple went away, it'll affect my life. If I had to start rushing back to the mall because Amazon went away, it would affect my life. as much as we talk about Mark Zuckerberg, if he decided to cut that thing off and all our pictures were going on Instagram and Facebook, it would affect my life.
Right.
Right? So if you put an Apple right now, if you bought an Apple right now, you would make 30% on your money if it went back to just where it was. If you put in the bank, you'd only make 5%.
All right, some noise!
Yeah.
All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting live from Greenville, South Carolina. It is so packed in here, you can't even get in the door. How y'all feeling out there this morning? All right.
Yeah, so Daymond John is here, and we are so excited to have this conversation with you. So many things that are admirable about you, not just the fact that you've made tons of money, but your resilience, your tenacity. Are very commendable. My question for you is, you talked about starting FUBU in 89 and not really taking off till 92. And I think a lot of the young men here would like to know, how do you determine when to keep going and when something is just not the right thing and it's time to let it go?
I mean, I think that's an excellent question. Most of the time we see on TV and all this stuff on social media, everybody's telling you go hard, but what real entrepreneurs and successful people do is they take affordable steps. I worked in Red Lobster for 5 years while I did FUBU, right? And so it's really about taking affordable steps, and they have to educate. Well, they've already done that. They're starting to educate themselves, but it's really so resilience is this. Money often highlights your weaknesses. A lot of people don't realize that small businesses usually fail because of overfunding. They take a $100,000 loan when they didn't need that. They go and build a $20,000 website instead of $1,000 Facebook page. So money doesn't make it any better. So if you have an advertising campaign that is, online is converting really low, buying more of that campaign is not going to give you anything better. If you decide to have, more clothes, more inventory, well, if it's whacked and people are sending it back, well, now you got more stuff in your garage. Right, so what you got to do is you got to just sell a little. Don't take a 7-year lease on the store. Open a kiosk for a weekend, And when you start figuring these things out, that's how you start to grow, right? You don't go to Vegas and play blackjack $1,000 a hand. You never played it. You go to Vegas and play $1,001 hands, and take affordable steps. That's the best way to do it.
Hold that thought right there, y'all. More Daymond John coming up. Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Everybody make some noise.
Oh, there we go.
Broadcasting live from Greenville, South Carolina, man. Look at all these young men. And I want to give a big shout out to all of the men in here that's mentoring these young men. This is our second year coming here broadcasting live. We are so excited. We told y'all last year that we was coming back. Anything that support our kids and our young men, we are happy to be here. It's nothing but us to be here. So we're so excited. Daymond John, we thank Daymond John for coming from Shark Tank, man. Went from just being a fan of hip hop, working at Red Lobster, now you're sitting on Shark Tank, man. And everybody needs to know how to get your book and how can they follow you on social media.
Yeah, follow me at the book is called Little Daymond Learns to Earn. I'm on all social media platforms. The Shark Daymond. I want to shout out all y'all are doing, and all the young men in the room and in the world. I got to tell you something very sad. I am the only African-American man on television, on network, that didn't come from music, sports, or politics, and it shouldn't be like that. There's millions of us out there. We need more of these young men and women for people to be able to see. And thank you for having me. And you didn't ask me about the hat. I don't know.
Yeah, what's up with the hat, man?
Well, for those who can't see, I'm wearing a big Monopoly hat. The reason why is our children cannot relate to me and my $10,000 Tom Ford suits on TV. But the average kid today is not getting out of their parents' house till they're 35. So these little kids come up to me and say, "You gonna teach me magic?" Yeah, I'm gonna show you how to disappear at your parents' house at 21. I'm gonna show you how to make $1 into $3. Come on. So I'm a magician, and don't play yourself if you don't like my hat. You love Willy Wonka, did you? You know what I'm saying? I got a top hat on. How many people y'all seen in a top hat today? In the house, Mr. Monopoly.
That's swag, man.
Everybody, you definitely need to be at every single high school and college being a motivational speaker, because you motivated me sitting up here, and I'm sure you motivating people that's listening. And I want every parent out here to make sure you order that book for your kids so they can be financial. And we're talking about breaking generational curse.
That's right.
Breaking the generational curse.
Right. And this is our time. This is our time. You know, African Americans. You know, we communicate. We are the most. We inspire the world because we come from nothing and we use our energy and our talent and the world loves us, right? And this is our time with the digital age to inspire everybody. And you know what? Making enough money for your family to be able to fulfill your dreams. You know
yes, sir. Man, we are so happy to have you, man. Y'all make sure that you all get that book for your kids. We teach them, like he said, we teach them music.
Music and sports. We teach them at 5 years old. We don't show them how to play sports at 18 and 20. Why are we showing them how to do finance? Because you should teach them music and sports, but finance is the only thing you're going to have to do for the rest of your life.
I'm going to read the children's book. Gary is going to.
Yes, sir. Really, I am.
Hey, Gary with this, he really need to read the children's book because he don't save any money. He goes to the mall, spend all his money on clothes. He probably spent about a couple of grand on this.
Thank you, Dad. But I help the economy.
Yeah, you sure do.
You heard what he said? He said he helping the economy.
I'm probably eating off him still. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, Rickey, I have a quick question for Daymond. Since we have all of the young men here, you talk a lot about entrepreneurship. Give us a quick 1, 2, 3 that you look for in terms of making an investment. If someone is looking for an investor, they're trying to start a business, they need some money, they need some help getting started. What are those 3 things you're looking for?
They did their own homework on whether they went to school or whatever the case is. They know who their customer is. They sold 1 product, 2 products, 5 products. If you don't know who your customer is, and I don't know who it is, well, you're taking my money for tuition, right? So they need to know who their customer is, and they're solving a problem. Every entrepreneur that has come up with great ideas have solved a problem. It doesn't have to be complicated. The #1 brand on Shark Tank history is called Bombas Socks. They're going to do $1 billion this year.
There it is. Y'all give it up and show your love right now for the one and only Daymond John.
Daymond John.